Yo, what's good? What's good? Let's see here.
Schools, schools, into our public schools, and in our courtrooms, and all this business. That's Charlie Kirk. That's him. He's the guy. He was the guy trying to overthrow our government in the name of his hate faith. And on top of that, that's not even counting all the bad things he said about black people, about women, about homosexuals, about trans people. This guy was absolutely horrific. And it kind of makes sense. It really tracks that the modern conservative.
Yo, what's good? Yo, these people are insane. Absolutely insane. I cannot. Yo, people are like, so, everyone is just so brainwashed, man. It's so crazy. You know, people just don't have the ability to like think for themselves for a second. Everyone is just regurgitating somebody else's opinion that they heard. And instead of like going to fact check something for a second, instead of just reacting off of emotions, everybody thinks that, that they know the truth. Everyone thinks that they know the truth. But a lot of times, like, we don't remember everything that we have learned about most things. Like we have certain things that we might be experts in, but then everything else, really, we're just regurgitating somebody else's opinion that a lot of times we don't even remember what we learned. We only really just remember the emotion that we felt when we learned it. And now we think that that's complete truth. And when we think about the topic, we just associate it with whatever that emotion we felt when we learned about it. But we can't even name any like actual facts about whatever the topic is. So, yeah, it's crazy. Like, people think everyone thinks, including me, that we're so smart and we just know everything and we're 100% sure and our opinion is correct, when a lot of times we don't even have the facts. Like, we don't know the facts. We didn't even, like, we heard somebody else say the facts, and then we had an emotion while they were saying the facts. We remembered that emotion we had, but we didn't remember the facts. We just remembered the emotion that it gave us. And half the time, the emotion that we got from those facts that we didn't even remember is not does not mean anything, because everyone perceives everything completely different from the next person. Like, have you ever been in an argument with someone and you're trying to tell them something, but because they're so angry that they hear something completely different than from what you're trying to say? Like, we've all been in those situations. Not only have we been in those situations where we're trying to tell somebody something and they're hearing something completely different, we've also been that person that someone is trying to tell us something and we hear something completely different, because we just want to hear whatever we want to hear based on that emotion, you know. We want to be angry, we want to be sad, we want to be mad at the moment, we want to be a victim. So, I mean, this is just, that happens all the time. And I think we have to remember that just because we think something is true, based, especially just because it makes us feel a certain type of way, doesn't mean that it's necessarily true. As a matter of fact, I don't know, based on studies, based on something I've heard before, I think it's like 85% probably of the beliefs that we hold are not even, are not factual or not based on anything true. They just, you know, but anyway, what's up? Somebody say what's good. Like this, let me know if the chat works. I don't see anybody saying anything. I'm starting to think it doesn't work. But yeah, does anyone have an opinion about any of this? You know, I think it seems like the country is getting super divided, and you know, the easy thing for me to be for me to do right now is to just point my finger and, you know, have an outrageous opinion and blame the other side, whatever that might be, right? And say they're freaking crazy and they're lunatics and they're stupid and they're causing all of this. That would be the easy thing to do. And it would probably get me a lot more views, because then I would have the people that agree with me sit here and watch me, and because they like what I'm here, they like what I'm saying. And then I would also have the people that disagree with me probably comment and, you know, enrage and probably continue watching me because they're so angry. And unfortunately, that's exactly how our social media systems are currently designed, that, you know, they incentivize people just to be as outrageous and as crazy as possible. And I think like it has gotten to a point where it used to be where we're just trying to do it to get clicks or just trying to get views and, you know, to get in the algorithm. But I think it's also at this point to train people just to be generally like that way, just a little crazy and stuff like that. But yeah, it seems like Charlie, anyway, I'm straying off the topic. Based on everything that I've seen, I'm not a like a huge Charlie supporter or anything like that. But based on everything that I've watched from him, if you watch any of his videos, even the ones that sound the most outrageous, like what did they always bring up? Yeah, if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, oh boy, I hope he's qualified. You know, if you break down what he's actually said, but a lot of times they take it out of, like, it's clipped out of context. So like they'll never mention that that because he, that right before that he says because of DEI, right? They'll always clip out the part where he says because of DEI, if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, oh boy, I hope he's qualified. And I think that word, that prerequisite right there is extremely important, because he's not criticizing black people, he's not being disparaging to black people, he's not saying anything negative about black pilots. He's saying that he's criticizing and critiquing DEI, and he's saying that because of DEI he's gonna think twice whether anyone is qualified for any position that might have been a beneficiary of DEI. So I mean, it's just as simple as that. Like people want to sit here and say, "Oh, he's being racist," but no. What's the topic of conversation? It wasn't racism. It wasn't about black people being unqualified to do anything. It wasn't about black people being not as smart. It was it was about specifically DEI. And he made an example which tracks. The example tracks. If DEI is a program that lowers the standard for people of any kind to get in, also if DEI is a program that decreases the talent pool of the people you can pick from. So let's say, for example, I'm hiring for a job, but I only want black men because of DEI. I can only have black men for this position. Well, guess what? That takes my pool of 100, let's say, employees that I could pick from to only 6 because black men are only 6% of the population. So I only have 6 people to choose from instead of 100. So just naturally, not because they're black, but because I have less people to choose from, statistically you're going to get somebody that's not as good. That's just how math works and statistic work. It's a shame he got done like that. He only just started appearing on my YouTube past few months. Interesting guy, and just avoids debating. Yeah, I completely agree with you. The good thing is he left plenty of material for you to watch, and he left plenty of material for you to watch, rewatch, learn from. I mean, there's a huge library. I think he started Turning Point USA, I think about 10 years ago or something like that. Along with Candace Owens, by the way. If you guys don't know, Candace Owens literally was there from the beginning of the start of Turning Point. That's nor here nor there, but yeah, he left a bunch of he left a bunch of very entertaining and very informative stuff for you to watch. Was he 100% correct all of the time? Absolutely not. Who is though? Like, who's 100% correct all the time? Did he say, was he politically incorrect? Absolutely. I mean, that's up to opinion. Do you want somebody to always be politically correct and walk on eggshells and be afraid of what they're going to say and how they're going to say it? Or do you want somebody that speaks their mind on the cuff and sometimes might get some things that might say some things that offend people? If there is no way that we could get to the truth, like this is a fact. I'm gonna say something that's a fact. It's gonna be impossible. If any topic is being discussed, it's impossible to get to the truth if you're afraid to offend someone. Someone is gonna get offended because everyone has different things that they get offended by. Like every single person, like one person might be offended, if you say something. Like, not only do everyone have different things that they get offended by, but everyone hears also things in a way that is skewed based on their lens and the way they perceive. So like, you might say one thing, you might say just one sentence, and two people are going to hear it completely different based on their background, based on how they feel about that topic, based on their day at the moment, based on something that might have happened to them just earlier that day. So like, being hateful and all of these things that they're saying about Charlie, a lot of that stuff is subjective. Unless you could, the word hateful and hate speech and all of these things are very subjective. Racism, I don't think that that's subjective. I think racism, you could objectively say, even though there's still room for argument in a lot of cases. But in the case of Charlie, at no point there's no record of him being racist. He was racial. He spoke about racial issues within different communities. He spoke about issues that are touchy, that are uncomfortable to speak about for most people, that most people don't speak about. And some people got offended when they heard the truth. And did he always say the truth? No, he did not. He wasn't like this person who's like, he's never said a false fact. And sometimes he got things wrong. Sometimes he got things wrong, not on purpose. I am positive that even sometimes he probably lied. I mean, I don't know when, but I think it's just natural. When in debate, like a lot of times nowadays, debate has become just trying to win. Did he lie on purpose? I don't know. Did he get something wrong? 100% he got facts wrong. 100% he skewed information in order to win the debate in a way that's maybe not a lie. He maybe left certain things out, but that's how debate works. Like, you're not going to help the other side win the debate. Just like nobody that he debated has ever helped him, like has never presented information that's going to work against their own argument. And they also left things out. That's just the way debate works. That's just a normal thing. Let me read some of these. Let me read some of this chat. I didn't agree with a lot of things he said. That's the point of debate. And exactly, I didn't agree with probably at least 60, not 60, at least 40% of the things that he said did not agree with. However, the things that I did agree with, like, it's cool, but there were things that I didn't know that I learned from him that I later went on and fact checked, and I was able to learn. I started by disagreeing with him probably on 70 to 80% of things, right? And after giving him a chance and after listening to him for a while here and there, there was a point where I was binging a lot of Charlie Kirk. I learned a shit ton of information from him, and he persuaded my opinion by like 30 to agree with him now on about 60% instead of 40. So, and am I saying that I'm right because and he was right? No, I could be wrong. Maybe he persuaded me to believe the wrong things. That's quite possible as well. Like, I completely understand that I am prone to getting brainwashed, just like all of us. Like, there's been plenty of things in my life that I thought I 100% was correct about, and then later on, when I gave it a chance, I found out that I was completely freaking wrong. And that's another thing that's the issue, is we all think we're just right. Like, we just know everything about everything, but we only know very little. And a lot of that very little, we don't even know. We're just regurgitating half-assedly somebody else's opinion that we don't even know. We just remember how we felt when they said that. So that's why when you hear a lot of people be like, oh, I just learned this, and then they can't even tell you. So they have to show you the video. Watch this. Here, watch what I don't know, watch what Charlie Kirk said. Look at that. Look what he said. Yeah, and they can't even tell you. Or watch what Cenk Uygur said, or whoever is the political commentator that people listen to. You know what I mean? Like, and people think that they just know. No, you just know an emotion that you felt when you heard somebody saying something. And you just going with that emotion for the rest of your life, which is retarded. Sorry, which is, that was politically incorrect. I didn't mean it that way. I don't think I'm allowed to say that, which is not smart. Trust me when I tell you, never intentionally mislead anyone. I don't know. I could disagree with that, Tony. Unfortunately, like, I really like Charlie Kirk. I legit cried a lot after what happened. Legitimately, like, I cried right away, and then just throughout the day, I mourned for like 2 days. For like 2 days, right? Just crying whenever seeing him or just whatever. But like, dude, intentionally, that's to be argued about. The topic of Israel, unless he completely, unless he's, I don't know. Like, look, a lot. Look, I'm not saying like most people just now started like waking up to, including myself, to Israel after October 7th. Hold on, let me just go through these comments. When you're debating same in war, only one side can win. It's 50-50. Yeah, exactly. You're not supposed to help your opponent win in a debate. I mean, technically, we should be in a debate. We should be looking for truth and not to win. However, it's very hard to do that when the other side just wants to win. So, like, we fall into this trap, and that's what's going on social media right now. Everyone just wants to win instead of trying to find out the truth. So I kind of have to disagree with, maybe we need to reshape what debate is. His objective was to help everyone understand the truth. I mean, look, listen, man, like, I'm just going to answer that real quick. He had political motivations, and for sure he did not. Like, he had certain political motivations. There's certain donors that he had who were funding his organization, and he definitely toed the party line in those senses. And so let's keep it real. Like, I love Charlie Kirk, but he definitely toed the party line when it comes to like conservatism, especially on the topic of Israel. Until very, very recently, he started saying things that Israel didn't like very much. Do people even know what racism is anymore? Charlie loved everyone. Yeah, I think that's a huge confusion. Hold on, I'm gonna get back to that. But at some point when he debate, we have to turn around and say we agree to disagree. Yeah, I think we should be able to agree to disagree, go home, and then look up whatever the person said and think about what the person said. I think when we debate or just have conversations, we should try to do it in a way that maybe like if we truly want to get to the truth and to the bottom, in a way that maybe like this there's something that this person is gonna say that is valuable that I could learn from, instead of just because a lot of times we have these conversations, we don't hear anything they're saying except for a few key words, and we're just thinking about what we're gonna say back. But at some point when he debate, the man was trying to save the youth in this country. He put God first. That's real. That's one thing that I could never take away from Charlie, is the fact, is his conviction, his loyalty to his belief in Jesus. And I'm not religious either way, but I find it admirable. I think Christianity is amazing. I love Jesus personally. I love everything Jesus stands for. The idea of Jesus, whether it's religious or like if you break it down on a psychological level or just a philosophical level. But yeah, Charlie put his religion first, which there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. He was loyal to his family. He was a good father. Every person that knows him is, I mean, every person that personally knows him, whether on the left or the right, has always said that he's an extremely polite, nice individual. Everyone liked him. No one disliked him. Even the people that talked the most crap about him liked him. Like for example, Cenk Uygur, right? Like on which I think Cenk is an okay person. He's like one of the moderate people on the left actually. But even like Cenk, he would talk crap about him and all of these things. Da 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 da. He's the fashion. Da, da, da. But like, but but at the same time, like he's never said, "Oh, this person has like is immoral or bad character." They disagreed politically, and rhetoric got turned up. Oh, Asmongold, is that you? That's pretty funny. Do I sound similar to Asmongold? Oh, Asmongold sounds familiar. Asmongold is a streamer, a lot more popular than me. He's pretty cool. He's actually a pretty nuanced individual who is seems like is pretty intelligent. Like is able to take things apart. Is able to take in information and really break it down in wise ways. But anyway, we're not talking about Asmongold. We're talking about Charlie Kirk. So yeah, Charlie Kirk. I mean, he was a good family man. He was loyal to his wife, even with all the fame. He was loyal to his religion. He stayed loyal to it. Like, how could you hate somebody like that? I mean, look, I understand. I do understand why people hated him. I don't. I think most of that hate came from being disinformed. I think a lot of hate really comes from just being ignorant, but not ignorant like stupid, but just being ignorant to information. So ignoring information to get the full story, the full scoop on anything. So do you think it was a high up assassination or dude, I honestly don't know. Like that breaks like thinking about whether it was a high up assassination or it like it just breaks my brain in so many ways because at this point I will not like I am willing I could literally believe anything. Like nothing is impossible from like this is going to be a hot take, but there's a lot of people that say like there's some rhetoric on the left saying that Trump did it in order to let's say distract from the Epstein files, right? Which I don't think so. Like I'm almost sure that that's not the case, but things are getting so insane that I will not say that that's 100% impossible. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I will hold that in a realm of possibilities because these people at the top that are in power, and not even just Trump, but people there's people way higher than Trump. Trump is not at the top of the world. He's not the leader of the free world. He is, I'm sorry to tell you guys, but he's a puppet. Sorry, guys, I'm not a lefty. All of them are puppets. Every single president. And the ones that try to cut their strings off, guess what happened to them? They were no longer the president. As a matter of fact, they were probably, some of them just got impeached and got up out of there, or got smeared to the point where people were disgusted with them. And then others, like our boy John F. Kennedy, were right up out of there. So what I'm saying is, you're not going to be that high up uh, without people telling you what to do. And unfortunately, like, I'm sorry, guys, if you love Trump and all these things, like, it's cool, man. Like, it's cool. I don't knock him. I'm not saying he's not, like, I don't think he's a fascist or like this evil demon like some people claim to be, but he's definitely not like in control. Let me just tell you that. He's very scared of the people that are in control of him. Is he willingly controlled by these people, whoever it is? Does he want to be? Is he a willing puppet? Maybe not. Probably not. Probably reluctantly, just doing the things he has to do after he realized he got himself in a little bit too deep. And, at the threat of violence against him, as we saw happen in Butler, violence against his family, and possible disgrace, depending on what's in those files, or maybe not disgrace, but maybe like shame or something along those lines. All right, but if politicians were not so secretive, none of these conspiracy, yeah, but right, that's a fact. Hold on, let me see. So do you think it was high up? So yeah, like I said, it seems like it wasn't. It seems like it was just like this kid, whatever his name is, Tyler something. Like, I don't even want to say his name, but it seems like it was just a kid who was like just completely off his rocker and just brainwashed by whatever. I don't want to be divisive and be like, oh, he was brainwashed by lefty ideology. But at the same time, I want to be honest. I think he was brainwashed by radical ideology, by radical political, socio-political ideology, and probably him being in a relationship with the relationship with his roommate, if that is verified, which it seems like it has, and them being associated with their little thing probably didn't help. He probably thought, some of the things that Charlie said. I could see how like somebody within that belief system would be offended. Like, it's not. I could see that. I'm not saying what Charlie was saying was right or wrong, but I could see that how people could be offended. How people like the shooter's boyfriend or whatever romantic significant other would be offended, and then Tyler was trying to like impress them or protect them or whatever. And it seems like that's the case, but it's also quite possible that whatever little groups man, like this MK Ultra stuff is so crazy. Like, we'll never know what he was influenced by, who brainwashed him. Even if the FBI find out, you think they're gonna give us the full scoop? You think they're gonna tell us that if, let's say, like a country, let's say some country, or maybe like non-governmental organizations that are tied to that country, if they planned it and they somehow had a part in like indoctrinating this kid, you think we're going to find out about it? Or even if it's somebody that's like on the left, you think like Trump or the FBI is going to let you know about that? Do you see anyone being locked up or because of the Russia hoax? Do you see any of them? Do you see any repercussions? No, because it's not gonna happen. Like, it's all just theater on both sides. They all, do this theater stuff, da 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 da, back and forth. But then at the end of it all, they all know each other. Like, They go to each other's weddings and all of this stuff, and then they talk crap about each other on TV, and they let you fight about the crap that they don't even believe. They don't care about none of it. Like, they literally don't care about none of the social issues. Trump does not care about deporting people. He doesn't care about immigration. He's just doing it for his base. And neither does Kamala. He doesn't care about deporting people, and neither does she in any way, shape, or form. And all of this rhetoric is just used to rile up their base to get the most amount of people behind them, and also it helps to get us fighting amongst each other and bickering over things that we have no control over whatsoever, and never uniting together, banding together and saying, we're tired of this. How about you give us the candidate that we want, not an illusion of choice of like these two fake parties that are designed to just divide us. All right, let me read through the comments. They enact new temp powers. I'm not sure what that means. No, the elites are but dude, I'm reading like on fifth grade level. No, the elites are but who are the elites? The elites are the people with money, buddy. I mean, just as simple as that. Look who has the most money and who has the most influence. There's a lot of them, you know. We have Peter Thiel, we have George Soros, we have all the technocrats, Elon Musk, Facebook dude. We have, uh, you know, the Rothschild family, the bank owners. Like, it's not just one group set. And technically, yeah, they're not all like friends, complete friends. Some of them, obviously, they're fighting for power, but they're using the same politicians to fight for power. There's a divide, obviously. Like George Soros uses the left a lot more, but I bet you George Soros also funds a lot of people on the right as well. So they just use these politicians to get as much influence as they want. It's not, but they don't care about the actual political policies that they enact. I mean, I'm wrong about that. They might care. There's certain things that they care about, but not because they care about the people. Like, none of these billionaires, none of these like one world government leaders and billionaires like George Soros, the Open World Society and all that stuff, like they're not trying to they're not they don't want open borders because they're so benevolent and because like they just want everybody to travel everywhere. That's literally the last thing that they want, is for everyone to just all of the sudden be able to travel everywhere unfucking documented. Sorry for cursing. What they want, if they do want, let's say, un, 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 uncontrolled immigration, is to disrupt a certain system within is to disrupt a certain system within that country for whatever political reasons that they need. And there's many, right? It could be potentially, like, obviously, if you dilute the working pool and if you increase a lot of people to work, then wages are going to go down, profits are going to go up. But then there's many other reasons, like political unrest, like dude, time is coming. Like, time is literally coming to a point where everything is going to change so fast. Like, things are going to be very different. Technology is moving at such a rapid pace. It's moving exponentially. So I'm getting off topic, by the way. I'm gonna stop because I'm rambling. I'm just gonna read the comments. All right, let's just literally read the comments. The cabal factor is definitely a cabal. Wet critical, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I mess with Charlie. I like Moist. Yeah, it's so funny. My gamer tag on PlayStation, I don't game like that, but it's actually Sagi Shmata, and it's because of Moist Critical. I don't know when I started playing games way late in life, and I was like Sagi Shmata, which is, doesn't matter. I read the news. I read the news. I read the news. Holy shit! I thought you was penguins. That's pretty funny. Two bitch strokes. It's all politician. Both sides are divided, and that's what they want. And they won't again because too many people are stupid. Uh, so It's all politicians, correct. Two bit strokes, both sides, yes, that's correct. We're divided 1000%, and that's what they want. Agree with that. And they won't again because too many people are stupid. I'm not sure what you mean by that. And they won't again. I don't understand that. I miss Charlie heavily, not gonna lie. Yes. Like I said earlier, I legit just bawled my eyes out for like 2 days. And it's very unlike me. I actually used to think it was. I sometimes think I'm like a sociopath because it's hard for me to feel emotion for things, and it's really weird when so and yeah, it's really weird when I think it's just because of how I think the video just seeing it. Also, a lot of us knew Charlie, right? We all knew like whoever listened to Charlie. It feels like you know the person. Like after you have hours of listening to the person, you feel like you know him. It felt like he's this friend, even though he doesn't know you, but it feels like a friend and felt like definitely a friend. And that video was just insane. I mean, like I'm sure you heard plenty of people say it, but that was, I mean, I don't know. I'm the kind of person that doesn't like that. I've never like watched banned from TV type stuff. I've never watched I never looked for gruesome stuff. It doesn't even in movies. Like I look away when like I don't get off on that. So seeing what happened to Charlie just really like I just felt like a strong pang here for the gruesomeness of it, and also just knowing that I'll never be able to go and debate him. Like that was literally one of my, not a dream or anything, but I've always like wanted to. There's a lot of things I disagreed with him on. I've always wanted to go and be like, hey, buddy, what about this and this and this? You know, why do you think? Why did I think this was famous? You're not Charlie. Yeah, I'm not Charlie. Which Charlie? He thought he was in trans Romeo and Juliet. These people are deluded. That's pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Who said that? Frankie McGo, Ty Perp, you're not Charlie, Ty Perp. There were a few of what? I'm sorry. We've been talking about a lot of things, but May Flame, yeah, it's a stage, and they're playing the character real well. Yeah, politicians are definitely. It's all wrestling. It's all professional wrestling. Ty Perp, I think he does. I don't mind if he only. I don't mind if he only cares because we do. That's what we hired them to do. We are Charlie. We are Charlie. I'm actually thinking about not even to get views or anything like that, but just going out there and just setting up a table and literally doing this. Charlie was not racist. Prove me wrong. You know, R.I.P. Charlie for sure. Bear, Ty Perp, Gates. Yep. He's definitely one of them, and he's definitely. And a lot of people think with Gates that like he's in the Epstein files because he's a weirdo, and he probably is, but it's way heavier than that with that guy, dude. He was using Epstein to get blackmail on other people so that way he could push his agendas. He was using Epstein to get blackmail on politicians and other prominent people of influence, Bill Gates, that is, to so that way when he needs to pass whatever weird vaccine or weird AI shit that he wants to pass, that if certain politicians don't get on board, be like, what about this, bro? Is this you with a, how old is she? You know? As long as we're fighting each other, they do what they want while we're looking the other way. 100%. We're looking at each other with anger and they're just laughing at the top. Siri doesn't find the right type perp. I don't know what that means. Bear, it doesn't take a meeting to collaborate on aligned interests. Moist Critical is a political commentator. I think everybody nowadays is a little bit of a political commentator. If anything, Charlie Moist Critical has been one of the few people that kind of like stayed away from that. Timu Moist Critical, that's pretty funny. Thank you. Dude, I really can't read all these comments. I don't even know how people do that, but I'm still going to try. Never shut up for speaking truth about Jesus Christ. I think Jesus was the man. That's right. One side is definitely more extreme than the other. and it isn't the right. I don't know. I think we could argue with that in some ways. This in this specific instance, that is, I think that's 100% the truth. That one side is a lot more crazy than the other, but there are other issues that I don't know. It's very hard for me to even think of any. It really, really is. Like, you know, like generally, I don't know. I think I'm biased, so I lean a little bit conservative, even though I think I'm down the middle. But I'm biased, so I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole. Charlie is the equivalent of today's Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. I don't know about that, man. I don't know if you could make those comparisons. I don't think those comparisons are fair to Martin Luther King. I think he was an activist in his own right. I'm not gonna agree or disagree with that. I think there's some comparisons to be made, but there's definitely a lot of differences. First of all, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were very, very different people. So, you know, if anything, Charlie is like somewhere in between with a completely different political ideology. It's time to start convo about DSMV and TDS and identity disorders. Yeah, I think probably identity disorders are. I mean, I'm not very informed on that. I don't even know what TDS. What is it? I don't know what that is. If you could elaborate. Hello, Yahshua. Did you just call me Jesus? Is that Austin? Are you talking to me? You call me Yahshua? Hello. Hi, Jesus Christos. It was an inside job. I counted 5 agents. I don't know, man. I have no idea. I see a lot of these little conspiracy theory videos. I don't really watch them just because everyone has their own little thing, and it's just too much information for me to. There's already so much going on. I can't like listen to every single conspiracy theory video. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying they're right. I'm just saying I don't know. Oh shit, it's Goodwill Jesus. That's funny. But why good? Yeah, I guess that's good. I like Goodwill. We need to get our country back right. Sick of this unholiness going on. That is a fact. What do you think we have to do that? Hello from Fort Wayne. What's good? Major Johnson, Tattoo Drew. What kind of person is for abortion and against death penalty? What kind of person is for abortions and against death penalty? I mean, there's probably different kinds of people. I don't know, man. I'm politically very much in the middle. I think, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for that, to not take sides on something like abortion, for example. I don't think we should abort. Yeah, I don't agree with it. But at the same time, I could understand how people could be like messed up in the head and think that that's okay. And I think we should figure out how to make them believe that it's not. But liberalism is mental illness. Damn, I have very conservative heavy chat right now. And I'm okay with that. It's fine. But honestly, that's not what I really want. I honestly want, like, it sucks because it's very hard. Like, if you have a certain point of view, what I really want is to be able to speak to like liberals and lefties, whatever you want to call them. I want to be able to speak more so to those people than just to people who kind of agree with the things I'm saying. Like, genuinely, I don't, like, I've tried to figure out how to make yes, Charlie was okay. There we go. There's one person that turned to God. Haha. Yes, Charlie was a racist. As evidence, I bring his statement, life decisions, and political affiliation. Okay, can you please give me like one statement that he said that was actually racist so we could talk about it instead of just making an assertion without any evidence? You said you're bringing his statements, life decisions, and political affiliations, but you didn't actually quote him. You didn't mention any specific life decisions or political affiliations. So like the political affiliation is just doesn't make any sense. Are you saying that like all Republicans, I'm not Republican or Democrat, but are you saying all Republicans are racist? Because that's just completely incorrect, right? Anyway, so if you could give me a statement, I don't agree with concept of God. Keep that off my body. That's fine. You have the right to believe whatever you want to believe. Spectre, he was referring to DEI. He's not a racist. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of those clips that are being taken as racist and out of context, he was talking either the main topic of conversation was either DEI or affirmative action. So, for example, when he mentioned the pilot, like, oh, if I see a black pilot, oh, I hope he's qualified. The prerequisite to that is because of DEI. So because of DEI being implemented, when I see somebody that's possibly a DEI hire, I'm gonna wonder, is this person the most qualified for this job? And I know people are gonna argue with me and say that's not how DEI works, but that's literally how DEI works, because DEI decreases the size of the pool talent that you're picking from. Therefore, it's just logically that you're going to get less qualified, or maybe they're all qualified and they all meet a certain expectation, but just because everyone meets the same expectation doesn't mean that everyone has the same skill, the same experience, or is just as smart or whatever. But when you diminish a pool of talent that you're picking from, so let's say you have 100 people to pick from, but because you're saying, oh, I only want to hire like I only want to hire somebody with green eyes and a beard, and there's only, let's say, 5 people with green eyes and a beard. You're only picking from 5 people instead of 100. So you're like the likelihood of those 5 people that one of those 5 people is the best out of those 100 is very, very low. It's 5%. So, and the likelihood of you picking the best candidate from the 100 it goes up a lot. But anyway, so Canon, fair winds. Charlie will take it from here. Yes, sir. I think everybody needs to be active, just as Charlie was, and whatever it is they believe. I think we should remain nonviolent, and I think we should remain civil, no matter what no matter what people say that you don't like. It could be the most crazy thing, the most abhorrent thing. We should continue to be civil and not fall into that. 1000%. So not only should we, I get everybody wants like a revolution. That's not going to help anybody. Again, this is done to divide us. Obviously, Charlie didn't pass away to divide us. However, his passing is used actively to divide us, to make us bicker amongst each other, and for them to just be able to control us easier. Don't fall into that. Continue being civil. Try to understand where the craziness is coming from. Just try to understand, feel sorry for them, forgive them. That's what Jesus would do. If you're a Christian, then you would. I'm not Christian, but that's what Jesus would do. And that's just the right thing to do. I think people are like, just thank God or whoever you believe in that you're not that insane, and just feel bad for them. Like, what's the point of arguing or getting down to there's a saying, like, when a smart person, an intelligent person is arguing with a crazy person, the people watching from the outside, they can't tell which one of them. A lot of it's not all the time, but sometimes you can't, because if you're arguing with a crazy stupid person, you're probably a little stupid for even doing that. Like, you're probably not intelligent to sit there and argue with a stupid person, because it doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? Why would you waste your time? Anyway, it's insane how people react in Charlie Kirk death. Not Republican or Democrat, but I can see where the hate comes from. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the hate is coming from people being politically captured, ideologically captured, and from them being uninformed, from Charlie's clips being taken out of context. And if they're not being taken out of context, then it's just people are listening with already an emotional, like, they start listening to him with already with hate already. So when they hear anything he says, they'll just hear whatever he wants, whatever they want to hear, and interpret it that way. Yeah, it's moist critical. Um, I just don't game like that. But I'm gonna start. The amount of hurt going on in this country, you think the compassionate party would be less? Yeah, it's crazy. There is a lot of projection. It's so funny that people like, yo, anytime somebody like says I'm compassionate, they're probably not. Like a lot of times, whatever people claim to be that they are is probably the opposite. And it's kind of like it's not projection per se, but it's I don't know what that's called, but it's like cope for being so like I know it's a weird thing to say, but a lot of like people on the left, they will claim like, they'll be like pro civil rights and anti-racist and all these things, and but a lot of these people are like low key the biggest racists, and they hate that about themselves so much that they just try to virtue signal themselves out of it. Anyway, because like for example, like any kind of disparaging, let's say any kind of disparaging statistics against black people in, well, I shouldn't have quoted black people, but any kind of disparaging statistics in the work field against black people or just minorities in general does not in like is the same whether the company is liberal or not, like just across the board. So why is it that your company is supposedly like ran by liberal beliefs and all this thing, but you also have like these same statistics that you are complaining about? That's all they do. I get that you're looking for a leftist opinion, but lefties only talk at you. Yeah, that's true. It's very hard to find, unfortunately, people on the left that are actually willing to engage in conversation, and instead of trying to shut you up. And Charlie was, I guess, the ultimate example of that, right? Instead of trying to debate and get to the bottom of the truth or try to prove him wrong, they just completely silenced him, which is fucking sad. I bet Richard ran like a coward. I don't know who Richard is. Who's Richard? What does that mean, Austin? Cooper Sparrow praying for y'all. People in the comments, RIP Charlie, 100%. Yeah, buddy said Charlie was okay. Charlie was a good guy. Anybody says otherwise is BS. I think so too. I think he was a flawed individual, just like all of us. Like he wasn't perfect. Obviously, none of us are perfect, but he was definitely, I think, a net positive for the world. And not only that, but I think if he continued to stay alive, he would have been. I think there are things in his past rhetoric that maybe wasn't a net positive for the world. The one thing that I could definitely think of is his stance on Israel. I'm not, but it seems like he was coming around on that as well. R.I.P. Charlie. Nick Fuentes is a good guy. I don't know much about Nick Fuentes, to be honest with you. I know that he speaks his mind just like Charlie does. I think Nick Fuentes sometimes speaks his mind a little bit specifically for outrage. But hey, listen, if you could back it up with facts, I'm all for that. I think Nick Fuentes is for sure entitled to his opinion, and I don't think we should silence Nick Fuentes. I don't think we should have silenced Nick Fuentes for all this time. And I think we should allow the free marketplace of opinions to decide of who's right and who is wrong. Exactly, bro. They don't have shit to support their BS. I mean, a lot of times that's literally what it is. I mean, there's very few political quote unquote commentators who are kind of good. Like the only one that I could really think of off the top of my head is like Destiny, and I don't know. I haven't really listened to heard anything from Destiny in a while, and he makes some good points, but I don't know. Destiny is one of the few that's actually willing to debate, but he also, I don't know. I feel like he's ideologically, he's audience captured, and he will just blatantly avoid topics. He won't argue about certain things. I think he will lie in order to prove his point. Opinions don't equal death. At least they shouldn't. No, 100% not. Like there's nowhere, no how, no opinion, none. Like doesn't like people like to say the age guy with the mustache, like there are people that deserve, obviously deserve the that, right? There are people in the history of the world that probably deserve that, but it's for their actions, it's not for their opinions. And like, if the age guy, let's just say, had his opinions until he started enacting them, he did not deserve that. And it's not for us to decide whether like this guy is going to become that or this, which is a crazy thing to say, because a lot of people will obviously agree with, they wish they could take him out beforehand, but you don't know what he would have been. I don't know. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Actually, opinions don't equal depth. I agree with that 100%, bro. I get caught on tangents too much. I haven't slept yet. I'll prove you wrong right now. Cameron Dale, please prove me wrong right now. Didn't earn it. Definitely didn't earn it. Done. Done what? Cameron Dale, prove me wrong. That's what I'm here for. I really want to talk to. Oh, didn't earn it. DEI. Okay, got you. I don't know, man. I think there's place for DEI, but that's a whole different topic. I think there's some place for it. I really, truly do. Let me just. Damn, there's so many freaking comments. All right, so I'm just gonna. I can't obviously read all of them. How do people do this? Like, how do people actually go through all these comments? This is impossible. I'm sorry, guys, that whoever got like left out and I didn't read their comment. This is insane. There's no way that I could do this. All right, I'm just gonna try to start over and just look at the bottom. If you have something to say, he believed. If I missed your comment, just say it again if you feel like it's important. If you don't feel like it's important, yeah, they skip around, but it's like, how do you? I think I need like a moderator to tell me important comments or something. This is crazy. But with DEI, let me just try to break it down. This is going to be somewhat of a controversial opinion. So they skip around, my guy. It, I'm not into Destiny, bro. Who told you I'm into Destiny? I just said I don't know much about Destiny. The little bit I've heard, he's one of the few people on the left that is actually willing to engage in debate. Most of them are not. That's all I said about Destiny. They read faster, but you're doing a good job. Keep up. They have a neck collar that reads to them as they go like rampage. That's interesting. Children die in racist. Okay, here we go. Children die in racist comments a lot. I can't tell you off the top. Videos are out there. Wait, children die in racist. Yeah, but you can't just say that and then not have just. You could literally pull up a video and just give me something. Children die in racist comments? That's what your children die in? That's why he's a bad person or he's a racist? I mean, look, give me a racist comment and we can actually talk about it. I'm not Jesus. When I used to smoke a lot of bud, I did have some weird times that I was getting like paranoid when I was 33, and I thought it, and I just moved to Vegas, which is the desert. That was crazy. Anyway, that's Prudent Deal. It's Rational. Charlie Kirk on stage. Turning Point Faith. Even April 2023. It's a prudent deal. I'm not sure what that is. What did he say? His actions were violent and believed it was justified. His actions were violent and believed it was justified. Whose actions? Charlie's? I'm not sure who you're talking about. When you write a comment, can you please be more specific? Because I'm talking about a lot of things and I can't remember the things I've said in the past. Can you like try to just be more specific and scroll up to my comments about DEI pilots? I think it's important. Okay, we can. All right, guys, can we, if anybody's in the chat, can you not comment until just give me a second and I will, because we need to talk about this pilot comment. Scroll, bro, I'm not going to be able to scroll up and find your comment, but if you said something about the DEI pilot, I mean, I literally just talked about the whole concept of the DEI pilot, dude. He said, because of DEI, now when I see a pilot, a black pilot, I'm gonna wonder if he's qualified because of DEI. Now, look, you can have whatever opinion on DEI you want. Like I said, I think there's some room for DEI. I really, really do think that there's some room implemented correctly. Do I think it should be all across the board? We should just have DEI and we should have a quota for every little, like, oh, there should be one black woman, one black guy, one person with blonde hair, green eyes, one person that's the age of 37 and a half, and we should like that's ridiculous and it doesn't make any sense. But I think there's some room for DEI in order to correct for the injustices that have happened specifically to black people in this country. For example, obviously we have, the slavery, but then even after that, like Charlie, one of the things he liked to do is say like black the absence of black fathers and black community is the reason for all the problems, and it is now a big problem, right? But it's not like one day black dudes just got up and said, yo, fuck these mentions and fuck these kids. No, that's not what happened. You had the civil rights that was passed by our government by a racist Lyndon Baines Johnson, who specifically designed it, who said those N-words are going to vote for us for the next 200 years. So a lot of the programs, welfare programs, were designed in order to keep black people dependent, as well as incentivize, like Charlie used to say, incentivize, and it incentivized uh, single motherhood, because you literally were not able to get welfare unless you were if you were with a man, if you had a man living with you or anything like that. Number one, incentivization so it's literally a systemic racist thing that was implemented for that to happen. Yes, it was 60 years ago, I get that. Then guess what, at the end of the 60s, you had the heroin epidemic that was started. Guess what the heroin epidemic caused, and guess where it was the most prevalent during that time? It was in black neighborhoods. And because it was in black neighborhoods, obviously at that time police was racist, we can agree, right? And they locked up all the black fathers, and then the other ones became junkies. They all went to jail. And this was during Nixon time, and this is when Nixon started the war on drugs. Charlie justified mass shootings. What are you people talking about? I mean, again, you're making an assertion that Charlie justified mass shootings. Can you say something that backs that fact up? There is nothing that Charlie has ever said that where he justified black shootings. Anyway, back to Barbie. You may be right. Necessary wasn't the right word. He did express a degree of acceptance. All right, whatever. So then after the 70s and the 60s, after the heroin epidemic, you had the crack epidemic. Guess who brought crack into black neighborhoods? The CIA blatantly spread crack all throughout black neighborhoods. Again, there was a very different way that black people were locked up for these drugs, whether they were users or whether they were selling them, very different from white neighborhoods, which again attributed to the lack of black fathers because they all got locked up. The crack epidemic left created crack addicts, created drug dealers, and obviously the kids of those people. So if you're like born and then your parent is on that stuff, then you're probably not going to be great in life, right? And then you're also without a father. So there's a lot more issues than just like and this is why DEI, there is a place for it in order to like combat these injustices. There is a lot more of them. However, again, but it still doesn't change that what Charlie said is not racist. Because again, just because I say that there's some place for DEI, I also understand why people disagree and don't think that like my sister thinks there should be no DEI. And she makes very great points for why there should be no DEI, because it gets too complicated, because it's inherently racist. We could sit here and step around it, but it's just reverse racism. So we're using racism to combat past racism, right? But it also creates, again, you're going to get less talented people in any given field by using DEI just statistically. It's not because these people are black, it's because you're choosing from a smaller pool of talent, and that's just the way it is. Or you're lowering the barrier of entry in order to get in. Pay attention to what you're doing, let alone those around you. You have low bar for racism. I don't think I have a low bar for racism. I don't. I don't know. You know what? Maybe you're right. Who knows? Maybe you're right. Wait, I have a low bar for racism. I don't even know what that means, honestly. Does a low bar for racism mean that I'm like, are you talking to me? Does it mean like that I allow things that are truly racist? I don't think that they're racist, or does that mean I'm sensitive? I'm not sure what that means. But I definitely I understand when things are racist, and I understand when things are not racist. Like I don't want to be that guy, but I literally come from the hood. Like legit. I'm from the hood. Grew up in the hood. I'm from New York. I from the time I was I was born in Russia, but at yeah, so I was not just the hood. So at 15 years old, I was the first time I got incarcerated, and I went to a juvenile facility where I stayed until I was 17. So you could imagine what that's like in New York, and like what, like, all of my friends who were in there. And then I went back when I was 18. And then I went to actual prison when I was 21 until I was 23, upstate New York, Rikers Island, and then upstate New York. And yeah, so I'm kind of from the hood. Like all of my friends, literally, it's not like I have one black friend. Like every single one of them is black. So stop talking about racism, you racist. Okay, I don't know if that's towards me, but I can talk about racism. I have been on the end of racism. I have been racist in my life, I'm sure, to people, as we all have been. I don't condone racism. And I definitely can talk about it. Like I said, I was in prison where I was the minority, where every single day I was at the butt of racist jokes or microaggressions or all of that. Were my feelings hurt at times? Yeah, they were. Did I like it? No, I didn't like it. Is it the same as what black people experience? Absolutely not. Obviously, systemic racism is very different from just like racist jokes and all that stuff. But I'm very sensitive, like I said, too. I understand. I don't fully understand, but I think I understand the plight of um, black people in the United States a little better than like the average person. And I think like there is systemic racism. There always have been systemic racism. Certain things should be put in place in order to combat that racism. However, everything is not racist, and we don't always need to victimize ourselves by giving it a voice. You're perpetuating by giving what a voice I'm perpetuating. I don't understand. Just dropped in. What's your name? Keep up the good work. Thank you, brother. Oh, my name is Pasha, Pasha. But why, exotic is, you'll find me by that. But my name is Pasha, though. Like I said, I'm Russian. Ralph, you're talking about it. So by giving it a voice, yo, this comment shit is very difficult. I don't know how people keep up with it, because I don't know if you're talking to me or if you're talking to somebody else in the comments. Hateful people only hear hate. If you listen to Charlie, dude, that's actually a great comment, McDaniel. I think there's a lot of projecting. I think, yeah, and it makes sense, right? All the people that are celebrating his passing are obviously hateful people. So like, what do you expect? And they will justify their hate for him because saying that he was a hateful person. But of course, you think he was a hateful person. Only thing in your mind, you're projecting. You think everything is hateful because that's who you are in your soul. So like you don't think that somebody could just be saying something with a good intention, or somebody could be speaking truth with an intention to actually educate. You don't think that somebody could just be saying something in a way that you just don't like, and maybe they could have said it better. 1000%. Charlie could have said a lot of things in a much better way. He could have tone policed a lot of times. He could have, but like, dude, Okay, you could do that, but just because he's not doesn't mean he's a hateful person or a racist. Just because you're speaking about racial issues doesn't mean you're a racist. The police records that prevent you from getting a job, voting for a change. Um, yeah, I've been there. The fact that you can't vote with a record is actually not true. That's a falsehood. Maybe in certain states, but not in New York. Hold on, talking about racism is racist. LOL, dumb. Yeah, talking about racism is definitely not racist. This is ridiculous. I think that's the way we find out like what really is racist, right? Like we should be able to ask each other what is racist and state our opinion on what is racist, so then somebody could correct us. That's the whole point of conversation. You're welcome. You're good too. RIP Charlie, brother in Christ. RIP. I don't know why I did this. This is actually probably like some demonic shit. Um, can you tell me which systems are racist and how? Are you asking me which systems are racist currently? I cannot tell you. I don't really think there are any racist. I don't think there are any inherently racist systems right now. I think, but there's a spillover from there's a spillover still to this day because as Charlie would say, MTG is a CrossFit instructor. Jasmine Crockett is a distinguished lawyer. Maga swears Jasmine is the DEI hire. I don't know. That's a good point. I guess I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. Jasmine is like off her rocker, but so is probably MTG a little bit. I don't know, man. You're the whole thing with like this or that. I don't think having a degree in anything, first of all, means that you have common sense or that you're intelligent. Um, and I don't think not having a degree automatically means you're not smart or you're not able to process information better than the next person with a degree. Having a degree just means you went to school for 4 years and you were able to sit down and study and regurgitate information that you learned. That's all that means. It doesn't mean you will have any critical thinking skills. It just means you're able to retain information. My ex-wife is a physician, and I was with her from the time that she was in med school. I was with her through her residency, and I was with her for the first couple of years of her being a doctor. And she was not smart. She had no common sense, but she had great grades, and she became a physician. You're off topic now. What about him saying MLK was an awful person? I didn't hear anyone. I don't know what people said about MLK, but I don't know enough about MLK from what I understand. I don't think he was. I think I've heard some weird stuff about like his I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about that. I don't know enough to speak on MLK. Again, I don't think anybody I think this is the issue too. Everyone wants to like look at someone and just automatically categorize them as bad or good. Like, dude, everyone is we're all complex people and we all have like different parts of us. Like, damn, how do I say this? Like, we're all complex. We're gonna have some attributes that some people might find good, and those same people might find other attributes that are damn. This has been a lot of talking. I don't even think I could speak anymore. I'm just gonna read the comments. Like, I think it's more complex than just saying this person did this one bad thing, so he's a bad person. People compare Kirk to MLK, but Kirk wouldn't like to be compared to MLK, who was against his words. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I said it earlier. I don't think it's fair to MLK or to Kirk to compare them. I think they were very different people. They stood for very different things, and but I'm sure that there was some similarities as well. So I don't know, dude. I'm sure they're in heaven and they're chilling, and I'm sure they're. What I know is this: is if MLK debated Charlie, or if they had a conversation, that those two would be able to find common ground if they sat down and talked, and they wouldn't call each other slurs. They wouldn't call each other all kind of weird names. Like, they would be able to talk, to sit down and have a reasonable conversation and come to certain agreements and be able to debate and discuss topics and come out of it without being hateful towards each other. So 100% of the people who call Charlie racist haven't watched any of his talks. Yeah, most likely if you call Charlie racist, you're either like not smart enough to comprehend what's being said, you haven't watched it, or you started watching it already emotional and already hating him, and you're just taking in the words, the things that he's saying through that lens. So you're not, it's distorted the same way like when you have an argument with somebody and you're trying to tell them something but they completely hear something different from what you're saying because they're emotional and they misinterpret it as the same thing. We do that. It happens to all of us all the time. I don't know why people can't realize that. You can tell people didn't actually watch Charlie Kirk. He was a good man. Righty Tighty said that. These questions are directed at you. Okay, Ralph Mendoza. Let's see. Yes. So Ralph Mendoza. Damn, I'm sorry, dude. By continuing to talk about racism, you're perpetuating it. What question is what Charlie meant when he said empathy is made up a construct? Okay, cool. Yeah, all right. So Ralph is one of the people that's actually here arguing. I'm sorry if I don't read your question, but I read Ralph's. All right, by giving it a voice, you're perpetuating it. Am I giving a voice to perpet? Okay, so this is at me. By giving it a voice, I'm perpetuating racism. I'm not giving racism a voice. I think racist people are extremely low IQ, and I think they're either extremely low IQ or they're ignorant or they're just brainwashed. Like there's absolutely no reason to be racist. Stop talking. Oh, okay. You think I'm racist? Stop talking about racism, you racist. I will not stop talking about racism. I think talking about racism is extremely important, especially considering, again, you're calling somebody who wasn't racist a racist. So I'm just here to defend him because he's not here to defend himself. He's not here. And even when he was here to defend himself, whenever somebody would come up and ask him, hey, you're, and tell him that they're a racist, what is it that he would always say one thing that I said that was racist, and they would just be like, everything you say is racist, everything you say is racist, but never never actually made an example. But I'm waiting for one. So okay, Ralph Mendoza, let's see, should have stayed. Yes. We're Charlie Kirk. By giving it a voice, you said something. This is what Charlie meant when he said empathy is a made up oh, you're not. This is what Charlie meant when he said empathy is a made up construct. All right, dude, I'm very confused. Maybe I'm the one who's not smart. It's probably true. Maybe this is what he said. Empathy is a made up construct. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think we should be able to have empathy. I don't agree with Charlie. I didn't watch that clip in full context, so I don't know exactly what he was saying. I do need to watch that. But I mean, so I can't really speak on it. But what do you mean, Ralph, by continually talking about racism, you're perpetuating it? Are you talking about me, or you're talking about somebody? He's like DEI and how things need to be even and fair. Me? I think there's a place for DEI, but you know, somewhat. But I think we should all agree that things should probably be somewhat even, and fair. I think even and fair is sympathy first, because empathy can be ponied. I don't ponied. What does that mean? Damn, this is harder than I thought it was. I'm sorry. I'm like losing people, losing energy. I think this is it. I might stick around for a little bit longer, but it's very tough. I really just want to talk about, honestly, I should have probably just prepared just talking points against. All right, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm not reading the chat. You guys could argue amongst each other. I'm just gonna talk about things off the top of my head that Charlie said that people deem as racist. thing that pops up in my head, number one thing, he said Michelle Obama, Katani, I don't know, he named 4 black women. Michelle Obama, one was another was a politician, third one was a federal judge, right? 4 black women. He said, if we would have said that those 4 black women um, are a result of affirmative action, we would have been called racist. He said that, right? He said, but now they're saying it themselves that they're a beneficiary of affirmative action. And then he continued on to say, of course, we know you are, because you don't have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. I'm pretty sure I'm paraphrasing correctly. And then he went on to say, he said, you don't have the brain processing power to be taken seriously, and you had to take the position or steal your position from a white person. All right, so sounds like a crazy Katanji Brown Jackson. Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I don't know her name. But this is I think this is a very difficult statement for anyone to be like, oh, it sounds like a pretty racist statement. It really does. It would be pretty difficult to rationalize otherwise, right? So he said he named 4 black women that are in American politics. He said if we would have said that they were that they're where they are because of affirmative action, they would have called us racist. But now they're saying that they are affirmative action picks. If we would have said that they're affirmative action picks, they would have said we're racist. But now they're themselves saying that they're affirmative action picks. And then he went on to say, of course you are. You don't have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. You had to steal your position from a white person. So let's break it down. What is the topic at hand? The topic at hand is not black women. The topic at hand is affirmative action. He's talking about specifically affirmative action. He mentions 4 specific black women. He doesn't, because he's talking about affirmative action. So if you're talking about affirmative action and you're trying to give examples of people that, are affirmative action picks, let's just say, or potential affirmative action picks, I mean, they're not going to be white men, right? So he's talking about 4 black women that are possible affirmative action picks. I don't know if they are or not. And he says, you would have called us racist if we would have said that they were affirmative action picks. And then he says, but now they're telling us they are, at which point afterwards he plays a clip of one of those women. I don't know which one, but she's speaking in Congress and she is pro-affirmative action, and she's explaining that she is a recipient, she's a beneficiary of affirmative action. So she's literally not denying that, hey, I benefited from affirmative action, and I think affirmative action should continue. She's making a case for affirmative action. So she's literally admitting to it, right? And he's talking about affirmative action. One of the people that he mentioned is claiming to do so. And then he goes on to say you had to steal your spot from a white person, which again, on its face, really sounds pretty racist. But it's not. Just because it sounds racist doesn't mean it is. Because let's talk about this woman let's talk about a judge. If a judge was put into her place by the Democratic Party, right? Let's say there were 10 people to pick from. Let's say there were 10 different people to pick from. Let's say there were 9 white people and one black woman, right? 9 white people, whatever. I don't know if they're men or women. 9 white people and 1 black woman, right? And if the Democratic Party installed a judge for no other reason than the fact that she's a black woman, because that's what the Democratic Party does, right? I'm not saying she's not qualified. I'm not saying she's not smart. I'm not saying she doesn't have accolades. But if they put her into place, if the Democratic Party put her into place in order to virtue signal, specifically only because she's a black woman, then she's a recipient of affirmative action, correct? Correct. Like there's no argument against that. Would the Democratic Party put somebody in place to be a judge, even though they're less qualified to be that judge than the other 9 people, only because they're black? Absolutely. I don't think anybody could argue with that. The Democratic Party does not care about black people. The Democratic Party doesn't care about white people. The Democratic Party really doesn't care about anything except for winning votes. The Democratic Party, just like the Republican Party, let me be fair. So this is not like only the Democratic Party, but both parties. Politicians in general don't give a shit about you or any of your issues, whether you're black or white. But the Democratic Party, only thing they want to do is virtue signal and make it look like they're and make it look like they're the good guys, and they're only trying to secure the black vote. So they will put somebody in based only because they're black, which is again an affirmative action / DEI pick. And if a person is getting put into a position only because they're black, they could be the most qualified person there. It's possible. It is. But there's a likelihood that they're probably not the most qualified person if they're getting picked solely on the fact that they're black and a woman and not on their merit. Again, it's possible that she was the smartest, the most qualified person there, but it's probably not the case because merit and only thing they care is about seeming like they're benevolent and to virtue signal and to secure the black vote and put somebody in place that is going to vote in the Supreme Court the way they want them to vote. So it's just a logical conclusion, right? Also, if she was put in place only because she's black and the other 9 candidates were white, then what was done there, right? She took a spot from a white person. So like, listen, we could sit here and be like, oh, this is racist, da 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 da. Or you could say like, this is literally, he's just saying what happened. It doesn't sound good. It sounds legit on its face racist, but but it's not. It's racial. It might be inflammatory. The way he said it is very inflammatory. And you could even call it race baiting. 100%. If somebody said, hey, that's kind of race baiting, you could have said that in a whole different way. I would agree with you 100% that is race baiting, but it's not the same as racism. Race baiting is using racial issues for political gain, in order to rile people up, whether that's on the other side or on your side behind you. That's what really race baiting is. And guess who? And I'm not saying that that's right, but hey, I actually don't like race baiting. I don't agree with that. I would have to say, I think Charlie could have been more, could have picked his words better a lot of times, and he could have been less of a race baiter. But I don't think he's racist. And sometimes you got to fight fire with fire. Guess who race baits the most? Let's listen to any political commentator on, damn, I hate like dividing the left and the right. But let's do it. Let's listen to any one of them, whether it's like private that are specifically political commentators that speak about racial issues. There's just like Roland Martin or somebody like that, like just the biggest race baiter. Like everything out of his mouth is white people this, white people that, white people this, white people that. Yeah, Joy Reid. Oh, Joy Reid was one of the people that Charlie Kirk mentioned. The biggest race baiter, but not just race baiter. Probably not a racist, but has blatantly said racist stuff like that. You can't even like. There's no like explanation. It's just black and white like racist jargon, like literally called white people. And look, I don't care. Like I honestly don't care. Legit don't care. Right? But yeah, like dude, just look up Joy Reid racist. racist compilation, literally called white people like Wonder Bread and mayonnaise, which not a big deal. I don't care. But people like it's literally a racist thing to say because like the I think here's the difference. It's not what you really say, it's the intention behind it. What are you trying to do? Anyway, the whole point I'm trying to make is he wasn't trying to say all black women are don't have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. He was specifically mentioning four different people, right? Ketanji Brown Jackson, Michelle Obama. Do I agree with that? I don't agree with that. But all four of those people are his political adversaries who he didn't like. And I don't know if they were affirmative action picks or not. I don't know how affirmative action played into what they do on a daily basis. One of them for sure admitted to be a beneficiary of affirmative action as she was trying to push for it. So we know she is, right? And anyway, so yeah. And again, if you're a judge, you're black, you're being put into place by the Democratic Party who wants to use you to virtue signal and put you into place just because you're a black woman probably means that you took a spot from a white person if the other 9 people up for that position were white. I mean, it's just obvious, right? If you were put just because you're black, then and it's not because like you're the best, which she could have been the best, but that's not why she was put there. Anyway, people are leaving. Nobody likes what the hell I have to say. I'm probably just gonna end this. I'll probably just look through the comments real quick and see if anyone has anything good. No town name. No argument. Kareem is right. I've also come to this conclusion. I wouldn't speculate about the feelings. Like it doesn't matter in the discussion of ideas. I just responded to your last comment. Vex, you clearly haven't done any research because you can't name one. Calling Kirk buzzwords like racist suckers as you see avoiding addressing his arguments. You should care without enabling, but empathy is a very noble notion. I agree. I think we should have empathy and sympathy, and we should be able to understand the other side, even when they're being belligerent, even when they're being crazy, even when they're saying crazy things about you, even when they're throwing slurs at you. Just feel sorry for them, like they know not what they do, dude. Like they're messed up in the head. Thank God you're not like that, and that's it. Dismiss it. Don't stoop to their level. It's like Hillary said, they go low, we go high, or something like that. That's probably the only good thing she's ever said. Vex, you still didn't know. You still didn't name a single, more sophisticated. If there are sundown towns, the bigger ones. All right, so you guys are just talking amongst each other. Anybody has any points in relation to what I said about the whole the 4 women? Racism is dead. They're only racist people. Laughing my ass off. You can't name names. It's not that you don't have to. You physically can't. Oh, okay. That's not towards me. Are you guys just being racist in here? That's not cool. Racism is a personal problem. It's not an American problem. I think so. I think there was a point that for sure it was. I think at this point, like most people are pretty open-minded about another person's race. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? I know I am. I can only speak for myself, I guess. Yeah. I don't need to name names. You don't even believe in sundown towns exist. Hence my original comment of, do they exist currently right now? I don't think sundown towns exist currently right now. I might be wrong, but I mean there are towns that are considered sundown towns, but like I don't know if anything actually goes on after sundown to this day. Empathy implies you know what someone is going through. Yeah, or at least trying to understand it, you know. Even if even if you don't fully know, you are trying. I don't know. I'm probably wrong about that. I'm asking for evidence, facts, blah 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 blah. All right. I guess I won't cut off the argument, even though there's only damn. How do I? Well, where did I go wrong? Who's been here from like for a while? Who actually like stuck with me for this whole time for like an hour or so? And if you've been here for the whole time, or if you, damn, I literally can't speak. I'm like getting super tired. If you've been with me for a while, Ratha Dornis, did I say that right? All right. Is there something like um, that you would critique me on, and as far as not as far as the points that I'm making, but I think maybe like how I'm doing it, maybe my speaking style or whatever. Anything else that I could improve on, potentially, just for because this is something that I actually want to continue doing. I would probably do it in a way that's a little bit better, as far as like using a camera and stuff like that, using a webcam instead of my phone, and then also have the internet at my disposal to like show things, improve things, and stuff like that that are also in the video. But can I do call-ins? I think so. Yeah, I don't know how to do that, but I think I should be able to do call-ins. Yeah, why not? What about your research? What about your research? You walk and talking point. That's funny. Are you talking to me, Mr. Box? Box. I don't think yeah. We all have talking points and we all parrot talking points. But I mean that's just how it goes, right? But we should be able to have some kind of critical thinking to be able to like come to our own conclusions on certain things instead of just parroting talking points. I personally think I have some original ideas and oh, I got you. Thank you. Who's Vex? Let's see who this Vex guy is. What is the point you're trying to make, Mr. Box? Um, and Vex is saying do some of your own research will be more informative than my comment regarding it. Vex and Box are going at it. I'm asking for evidence, Vex. What are you guys arguing about? Can I be the arbitrator of this? Because I'm not. I don't want to go back and like actually look at it, find messages. You're doing a good job, but it's too reasonable. The successful streams provocate. Yeah, I figured that. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great actually point. I was actually talking about that at the beginning that I probably won't really have um, much success because nuance doesn't go viral. Unfortunately, it's always like the provocative and polarizing, controversial takes that go viral, as you could see on Twitter, for example. I'm trying to get educated by Vex, but he can't name one. Okay, name one what? What is he trying to name? You're building something. You need to decide whether you maintain self or. I think that I'm just gonna continue. Yeah, I don't want to just. I don't know. I don't want to be like that person who's just saying things just because it's gonna get like an outrage. I think there's room for it. Maybe like in titles or but no, I would rather be my own person and like talk about what I truly believe in because then what's the point? What am I doing? Like getting views and likes and making money, but I'm not improving this world. I think one good person, actually, there's an example of a person who's very nuanced and is semi-successful, even though it took him a while. Dave Smith, extremely nuanced on like most things, I would say, and is willing to criticize both sides, is willing to criticize himself, extremely knowledgeable and nuanced, and is, I think, just coming up. All right, so what do we have? Move towards what sells. Oh, you're telling me to move towards what sells? I see. Stay true and grab a real following. Yeah, I think I'll just try to do that. I'm still a hippie nerd. That's so hilarious. All right. See you, Ralph. Did you ask for yeah, Collins? I don't know, Ralph, if you're still here, like I'm not saying to subscribe because like, oh, fucking subscribe to my channel. But maybe in the future you could if you want to like debate and we could do a call in. And when I figure it out, we could definitely do it for sure. I'm super down with that. Have a blessed day. Be safe. Yes, I'm probably gonna be out too. I'm getting very tired. I don't know how people do this. Stay your way, people will come. Thank you so much, buddy, brother. I honestly came here not even for that. I just legitimately wanted to express myself. I think it's very tough going on like Twitter and just seeing all these crazy people on both sides. And and it's like, hey, I'm gonna leave a comment and what is that gonna do? Nobody's gonna see it, nobody's gonna read it. So I don't know, maybe I just wanted to just kind of like use this like therapy. All right, Ralphie, peace, man. Vex, where you at, man? I think Vex probably left. Vex went into hiding, I guess. He didn't have let me see. Before I leave, I'm just gonna see what Vex was saying. And that's your ignorance speaking. I just responded to your last comment. You don't even believe that there's still a thing. You should do. Oh, sundown towns. Oh, so you guys were asking him to name some sundown towns? Yeah, there are towns that are known as sundown towns, but I doubt it that like if if somebody like stays outside after sundown, something is gonna happen to them. Yeah, I highly, highly doubt that. But I might be wrong. Oh, Vex, there you are, bud. People are looking for you. I think they're asking for you to like name a sundown town or something like that. You had an ample amount of time to do some research and find the name of some. Oh, Twitter is the grave of nuance. Yeah, that's for sure. Insta too. Yeah, yeah. I mean, social media in general. It seems like. Oh, you did. Well, did you name a town, Vex? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just. I genuinely want to know. And after I get off, actually, I have a phone. I could have another phone with internet on it. It's not as good as this one, but I have a bunch of phones. I actually do, just in case if you guys were wondering, I do social media for a living, just not this, not this channel. Even though you guys should check out some of the videos on here, they're not political, but some of them are viral. But I do social media for a living, just other kind of stuff. I make like AI content and I make like watch bait content on Facebook and stuff. But anyways, besides the point. Yeah, I should have been using this phone. Are sundown towns still a thing? I'm gonna look that up before I go. And I don't have ChatGPT on here. It would just be easier with ChatGPT. Still a thing. Who's my favorite content creator? I don't know, man. I don't like the way I'm a little bit fickle, so a lot of times what I do is I find a content creator that I really like or just a person who's knowledgeable who I really like and I kind of binge them and then once I feel like I got everything, I just drop off. Like that actually happened with Charlie. I haven't listened to from time to time, but like I went on a Charlie binge like a year ago. Like I would literally just listen to his debates in the shower and whenever I had like a second of free time, I would just listen to Charlie. And but then after a while it's like, all right, it's getting kind of repetitive. It's the same questions, the same arguments. I also was like not that I don't agree with a lot of points that Charlie makes, but Charlie obfuscated sometimes, and he also would leave out information that he left out certain that wouldn't help his argument, and I didn't agree with Charlie on that. I felt like if he was able to like squeeze in certain facts that maybe are counter to his argument, we would be able to more so. I think he would be able to get more people on his side that way if he was just a little bit more nuanced. But just like Ratha Dorn said, nuance doesn't really get you become viral. But so who's my favorite dude? I listen to a lot of different people. Like, you would be surprised as far as like political commentators. Honestly, right now it has to be probably Dave Smith. My guilty pleasure is Candace Owens. Judge me if you want, but it's my little guilty pleasure content. I will listen to Midas Touch occasionally. Definitely not my favorite content, but like, I think it's important to listen to the other side and to see, as angry as it makes you, there's probably some truth in what they're saying outside of the propaganda that they're trying to spew. Um, what I appreciate about Charlie is his willingness to have public and open dialogues. Yeah, I think if there's nothing else to, like, if there's nothing else, bro, just that one thing. Like, yeah, yeah, he's having, like, people will be like, yeah, he's having a debate, but he's just there, like, he spins things in his own way and da 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 da. Like Nick Fuentes, I think, was criticizing him for that, like that he has a certain structure of any question that gets thrown at him, there's already a format in how he's going to answer. Of course there is, dude. He's not like, of course, he's done this a million times. He has a certain agenda he's trying to push. He is affiliated with a political party. He has donors that are political. We all know that. So, like, we all know that. But still, even with knowing all that, he's still bringing discourse. He's giving voice to the opposing side. So, like, if you can't appreciate him for anything, you could appreciate. I don't see how a person wouldn't appreciate him for that. All right. Oh, I looked up on YouTube, are Sundown Towns still a thing? Let me see. I'm gonna look it up. Are Sundown Towns still active in 2025? Let's see. All right, so this is AI. This is Google, who is known to skew left. This is Google AI answering no. There are no legally enforced active sundown towns in 2025 that publicly exclude non-white residents, as such practices are illegal. However, the lasting effects of historic sundown towns are still evident in predominantly white communities and may manifest in subtle, informal forms of exclusion, racial hostility, or perpetuation of racial and economic inequities that began with these historic practices. So, this is what Google has to say. That makes sense. That makes sense. Like I said, that, there's still obviously those towns that used to be sundown, and then there are probably a higher percentage of people that are racist or prejudiced within those towns, but they don't they don't lynch people, obviously. What's a sundown town? I honestly don't know. I think you're gonna have to. I think what a sundown town is probably like a town where after, I don't know. Let's Google it. Let's learn what a sundown town together. Hey, instead of me sitting here and guessing. What is a sundown town? A sundown town was a municipality or a neighborhood in the United States that used intimidation, hostility, or violence to exclude non-white people, particularly. Why did I think sundown town is like a place where after sundown, like, black people get assaulted or something like that, particularly African Americans. The name comes from practice of white communities posting signs that warned non-whites to leave the area before sundown. So it is to avoid harassment, threats, or violence. While the number of sundown towns has decreased since civil rights movement, many communities were once sundown towns, with some becoming entire sundown counties or suburbs. So that's what it is. So it seems like Vex is somewhat right. I'm not sure what he was trying to. I don't know what you said about sundown towns before. They still exist. There are still people that. I mean, they still obviously exist. Like those towns didn't get like an atomic bomb dropped on them and all the people got exterminated. Those towns are still exist, and with culture still continues among some of the residents. However, there's like no active violence or intimidation within those towns. But there probably is. Let's be for real. There's probably still like some of that goes on, just on a much smaller scale. Right. So there's no town that actually is like actively declaring themselves as a sundown town, because obviously that's illegal. Favorite video game? Um, Probably Elden Ring. If I had to name one, that's the first. So I didn't start gaming. I gamed when I was really young. I was playing like Age of Empires back in the day and Warcraft, not World of Warcraft, but Warcraft. And that was a long time ago. And then I just started gaming about 2 years ago, um, with my sister and her boyfriend. And they put me on when I was visiting them in New York. And the first game that they put me on was Elden Ring, and I fell in love with that game. And I love Soul games. Since then, I've played Bloodborne. I haven't played any of this actual Souls like Demon Souls and Dark Souls, but I played Bloodborne, Elden Ring. I beat the game and the DLC. And there's a Souls-like game that I'm playing right now, which is called Life of P, or not Life of P, Lies of P, which is dope. It's like Bloodborne. It's like pretty much a copy of Bloodborne, but with better graphics and like a modernized version. I actually enjoy Lies of P more than I enjoyed Bloodborne. I've never played Counter Strike, so I don't know. I'm sorry. There's a lot of games that I still haven't played, but I like all kind of games. I really like co-op games. I really enjoy like playing with my friends. It Takes Two is legit one of my favorite games that I played with my girl. Yeah, I wish there was another game like It Takes Two for like co-op. That was like legit one of my, very different obviously from Souls games, but I love that. Oh, no. So there's a game that I played that I liked better than Elden Ring, and it was Shadow of War. Shadow of War. Dude, that game is nuts. It's like I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. From I read The Hobbit when I was 9 in Russia in Russian, and I read all the series. I read like the Lord of the Rings series, and then I read the Silmarillion. But so I have a bias towards it. But the game, but it's not just that. It's the gameplay, and that game is insane. It's like it's like Assassin's Creed on jet fuel, on like crack, dude. It's so good. All right, so nice choice. Do you like Counter Strike? I haven't played it. You can't be white. Some Wait, you can't be white in some parts of the city too. This is the same issue. It's about ideals. Yeah, I mean, technically, that I think has. I'm like I said, I'm from the hood in New York, and I have seen Harlem change. I have seen Harlem definitely changed. Where like back in the day, you literally couldn't be white walking through certain neighborhoods in Harlem. Nowadays, white girls be walking around Harlem with no problem. But there's still some hoods like in the Bronx and Brooklyn where good luck, dude. You go there at a certain time, good luck. So is it racism, or is it just, I mean, honestly, those hoods, good luck being black and walking through them, to be honest with you. Good luck being black and not from that neighborhood. So I don't know if it's necessary, but you're probably going to get targeted more if you're white. Um, Batman and God of War hybrid. Those games are awesome. I started God of War recently. I didn't get into it yet, but I don't know. I've been playing, like I said, Lies of P and Shadow of War. It depends if you act like that environment, you're most likely good. Yeah, I think that that's very important too. Like how you act, because again, I'm white and I was literally in the hood. I was doing all kind of crazy stuff in the hood, like that people are illegally not supposed to do, which I ended up going to prison for. And but I was yeah, but I will tell you what, I was like I said, I was in Harlem. I mean, I was in all the boroughs, but there are certain hoods that I just would not go to. Like, I would rather not, for sure. Even to this day, like there are hoods in the Bronx, up in the Bronx, like Soundview, Brownsville in Brooklyn, Marcy in Brooklyn, even in Harlem. I'm not actually Harlem, even like the worst parts. You could, for the most part, nobody's gonna mess with you. People like the people that are like gangsters or whatever, they're just trying to make money, honestly. They're not really trying to and like doing anything to you is just going to bring heat and bring cops to the block, so they're really not trying to, like, if anything, you might get like something might happen to you, but only because like some low life just try to rob you. It's not because necessarily they're because you're white. It's just because they think you have money, because you're white, but not because they're racist, but because they think you have money. So yeah, it's I think it's a nuanced topic. All right, I'm getting really tired, guys. Favorite book? Favorite book? I read so many books, dude. When I was in prison, and I have an extremely terrible memory, like really, really bad. I read hundreds of books. I was in the box, which is um, like special housing unit, where if you get in trouble in prison, you go to the box. So all I did was read. I would read like 2, 3 books a week. And I don't even remember any of them. But some of my favorites were Lord of the Rings for sure. I read the whole Harry Potter series. Not my favorite at the time. It was. I was much younger. It was definitely. I like fantasies and fantasy in general. It was a way for me to escape from prison. I really loved. I really like a lot of Stephen King stuff, like Dark Tower series, and just a lot of his stuff. Um, some like political books I read back in the day, Sidney Sheldon. I read the Bible, which is pretty awesome, especially if you start breaking it down on like psychological, philosophical, as well as like prophecy type ways. Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna go. I think there's not a lot of people left in here. I wish there were more, not because like just because of the point that I want to make right now. I think is very important for people to hear. I think I think no matter what your political, I think the solution to one of the solutions is we need to stop identifying we ourselves as right and left. None of us are right or left. We all have, we should at least have like nuanced opinions on every political topic. We need to stop identifying and separating ourselves as right and left. And we need to stop dehumanizing the other side. They're not doing it because they're not saying the things, they don't believe the things that they do believe because they're evil. It's just the environment that they were brought up in. It's the kind of media that they're taking in. Most people truly believe that their opinion is righteous and it's good. Even if it's not, that's what they believe. So the intent, not everyone, some people are just crazy and deranged and evil. Um, but most common people And those people are politicians, like, you know, but most of us, we're just trying to figure out our way in the world, right? So stop demonizing the other side. Feel sorry for them if you think that they're saying something crazy, because they're clearly confused. um, try to learn about the other person's points more than you try to learn about, more than trying to reinforce what you already believe. Try to learn more about the opposing takes. So the worst comes to worst, you're just gonna arm yourself with an argument. Like, the best way you could know if you're right is to learn, is to actually be able to steel man what the opposing side is saying. If you don't know their arguments, then you don't even know if you're right. You just know your arguments. That's it. So try to learn more about opposing views, facts about opposing views. Um, Stop looking for confirmation bias. Yeah, pick some, like, pick, if you come across a YouTube channel or an influencer that just outrages you, and like you just want to skip his video, don't do it. Listen to it and follow him, and from time to time listen to what they have to say, and do it not in a way of like, this person is just going to tell me a bunch of lies. Do it in a way where it's like you're really going to listen, and like give them the benefit of the doubt that they're telling you the truth. um, right. And then also understand that they are using us, they're using the powers that be, and the powers that be that control the powers that be want us to argue. Divide and conquer is the oldest trick in the uh, political handbook. Divide and conquer, and fear hate of the other. So they want us to, they want to divide us and conquer us by making us hate and fear the other, right? But there is no other. We're all the same. We're just from different, we just grew up differently, or we surrounded ourselves with different people. So just, so let's just do that. Let's continue Charlie's if Charlie did nothing else good, he pushed for conversation and for open, I don't know if for open-mindedness, but at least I think we need to talk. I'm very, very tired, guys. I'm gonna peace out. Hopefully I see ya again. And thank you very much. Kareem, thank you that. I would be, he left. Good discussion. I'm out. All right, peace, Vex. Peace, man. Peace to everyone, man. I think we should, I don't know, man. I think we should all just unite. Like, if there's anything I want from this channel, it's to just get a bunch of people with like different opinions to be able to just talk it all out, man. That's what I would really, really love. And that's what I'm going to strive for. So I hope I see you guys again at some point. If I don't, peace. Nothing but love. If I said anything that offended you, I truly apologize. That was not my intent. And that's it. And peace to Charlie. And I hope I hope God sees, I hope God bestows his favor upon him. And I hope we could all take the best parts of Charlie and carry them on. And I hope we all can see the flaws that Charlie had and learn from them, the mistakes that Charlie made, and learn from them, and not make them. All right? Peace, man. Love you guys. You're right, Vex. The world is gonna keep spinning, man. Charlie is, I don't know. I guess that's a subjective opinion, and I agree with you. To me, he's somebody special, to me personally, and I think there's a lot of people to who he's special. I think I've learned a lot from him, and I was about to leave, and then I saw that comment. I've learned a ton from him. I've also I've learned a lot of good stuff from him, and he made me actually learn the opposing views as well from other people, because when he debates people, I don't automatically dismiss them. I actually listen to them and I fact check, and there's been times that they're right and Charlie was wrong. And also, I learned from the things that he didn't say that I would fact check him on, and then learn more about what he said and realize that he didn't say the full story of whatever it is because it didn't benefit him in the debate. So I don't know. I think he's special. He's definitely going to be special in a way of how he's going to change the political landscape, as you could clearly see it happening right now. So he's definitely special in that way. Yeah, I agree with you. There are people like that. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real with you. My my girl's godmother passed about a month ago, and I was definitely more shaken after Charlie passed, and which is something I thought about. I'm like, why? Why am I like her? Because I didn't, well, I didn't know her. I literally never even met her. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that says anything. Not all family is family. Not, and sometimes these content creators, it's crazy. It's a crazy world we live in, but sometimes we identify with them a lot more than we do with our own family. And some of them become our brothers, even without them knowing. Some of them become our father figures. Some of them become our friends. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but it kind of makes sense that happens. Anyway, peace, guys. You can't control your emotional reaction. No, that's what it is. You can control what you think about it. You could think about it and figure out why is it that would happen, and then you could grow from it and learn from it. And it made me realize though that anyway, I gotta go. That's it. I don't have any prove you're wrong. You're the one making the claim. Oh, okay. Well, I'll stick around for Grant Bruner. You don't have to. I'm guessing you're talking to me because the title of the thing is Charlie Isn't Racist. Prove me wrong. You're right. Well, before I go, I guess I'll tell you why. None of the videos, none of the clips that people play or post trying to prove that Charlie is racist are actually racist. That's my proof. That's my proof that they're all taking, every single one of them. They're racial. He's talking about race, and some of them are race baiting, as I said earlier. Some of it is full on race baiting, for sure. But race baiting is not the same as being racist. Maybe some of them are microaggressions, whatever. But none of them are racist. None of them are rooted in hate of minorities, of hate of black people, of hate of anyone. They're usually rooted in criticism of either behaviors or ideologies. Just because you're criticizing a group of people doesn't mean you're racist. It just doesn't. Like, if I critiqued a group of people, it doesn't mean I hate them. I'm just pointing out a thing that's happening within a certain community that I don't agree with necessarily, but I don't hate them. I don't hate them. I don't think I'm better than them morally or in any kind of way. I have plenty of to criticize about myself. I also criticize myself. Do I hate myself? No. But I criticize myself all the time. And I criticize and critique the people I love all the time. I don't hate them, I'm not racist against them or prejudiced against them. Yeah, I mean, I don't look. He wanted dialogue. I don't know if he wanted to keep the peace. As the next comment goes, sometimes dialogue isn't peaceful. There's agendas at hand. Look at history. I 100% agree with you on that. I don't think any of Charlie's dialogue was not peaceful. He didn't call for violence. He didn't incite violence other than from the other side. The others, I mean, but you can't blame him for people that disagree with him inciting themselves into violence because they don't agree with what he says. He never called for any of his followers for violence. So, like, what did you say? Something that isn't peaceful? I don't know. I guess that's very subjective. That dialogue isn't peaceful. I mean, to me, like, if you're not calling for violence, then it's pretty peaceful. Slavoj Zizek. Slavoj Zizek. Interesting. Who's that? Guys, I really gotta go. I gotta go to sleep. And then I gotta work. I'm gonna see you guys around. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry I couldn't hang.